So let's bring them up. First up, we have Khairul Anwar, the CEO of Pandai. Smartest CEO in town. Pandai is clever in Malay. Next, we have James Abela, Director of Digital Learning and Entrepreneurship, Gardens International School, who has 10 years of experience teaching AI. We have Marques Jeevan, familiar face on many panels like this. He's the Program Director with Heriot-Watt University, Malaysia. And Professor Dr. Nurkhamimi, Associate Professor, University of Science, Islam, Malaysia. This cues into what our Prime Minister was talking about yesterday on how religious education and other areas of education in general are going to be adopting the AI push. And, gentlemen, could we sit according to our tiny little thumbnail photos, please? James, could you move down the middle? All right, great. And now I'll bring up the star moderator we have. He is Zaim Mohzani, the one and only, from Kingsley Advisory and Strategic Initiatives, KSI, and he will be directing traffic on this conversation. He's aptly attired in a batik, ready to go. So I'll hand you over to Zaim to begin the conversation.
Thank you so much, Terence. Terence, give it up to Terence, one of the best MCs in the country, highly rated. The previous panel that I did, the MC had a podcast, so maybe you need to have a podcast also. Okay, folks, welcome. How many of you guys have been sitting here for the past 1 hour? Hands up. Past 2 hours? Okay, so 1 hour. Can we do another 40 minutes? Is it okay? Yes? Kind of yes lah, huh? A bit tired also. A fun fact, after this you can go to the YTL AI Labs. They're giving free teh tarik, but you have to sit through the LLM. Okay? I want to ask the audience before I kick off the session, how many of you guys are in education? How many of you guys are not in education? Not in education. Awesome. How many of you guys will not put up your hand no matter what I say? Many of you. Okay, awesome. That's also great. Okay, so we have quite a mix. How many of you are teachers? Just curiosity. Okay, just 1 or 2 folks. Okay. How many of you are working in schools? Education institutions, schools, universities, colleges. Okay. Thank you so much. I see you put your hand for everything, right? How many of you are, I suppose, working in admin side of education institutions? So business functions, BD, finance. Okay, they're a mixed bag. Okay, awesome. So we have a very diverse panel of panelists on this panel. And the names are the backdrop. I'm going to quickly run through some I suppose some points. This session is about AI and how it's changing education. How is AI changing how students are learning? And I think this is a very important question. Even the government, besides yesterday's launch speech by Prime Minister, the Ministry of Education in a parliamentary response said that they're going to launch AI education in the curriculum by 2026, right? And they're taking it seriously because AI, the wave is already here, and we better prepare before we get, I suppose, disrupted, right? In every sense of the word. I want to focus a lot on what you do, not so much ASEAN, right? I want to focus on what you do, because I think when you speak from what you do, I think we can get a lot more from this session. So let's put away the ASEAN side. I love ASEAN, but I want the panelists to talk about your experience. So, first question to all the panelists. In your work, what is the most significant way AI has changed how students have learned? Okay, whether it is improved, changed, disrupted, how has it changed the way students have learned or not? So you can be honest. You can just say, actually, my school, AI hasn't changed anything, right? So tell me about your thoughts. Let's open with that. Maybe I'll start with our Orang Pandai, Khairul Anwar, CEO of Pandai. Go for it.
All right. First of all, thanks to the organizer for having me here. So I'm from Pandai, and for those of you who don't know, Pandai is an education app for school students. So basically, it's an app for primary and secondary school students. So students will go to school like they normally do, but after school, when they're alone at home, instead of using paper-based stuff to do revision, to study, they can use the app instead. So we started off in 2020, so relatively new, but in the first 2 or 2.5 years of Pandai, obviously AI was not in the picture. We did a lot of things manually. So, for example, we had to have a few hundred people just working on content, to manually create content, graphics, explanation, things like that. So, and then when AI came into picture, so we use AI in terms of content generation, into personalization, in terms of giving recommendation, in analytics and things like that. So a lot of the things that we do with regards to AI is actually a natural progression of the things that we were doing before, since 2020. And I don't want to get into too deep into the product, but just give you one example. In our second year, we created a service which is called Life Help. So with Life Help, students can actually chat via text with a human tutor. So if you don't understand anything with regards to their homework, assignment, or any external resources like other books and all, they can snap a picture and then send to a human tutor, and then the human tutor will respond with explanation or solution, things like that. And obviously, because it was done manually, right, in the beginning, and AI was not in the picture, we had to route the question to the right tutor, because there are many tutors, right, different grades, different subjects and all that. So it takes a while before the question gets to the right tutor. And then when it gets to the tutor, the human tutor has to spend some time in order to give the right response, right? For example, it's a very tough physics question, for example, or something wrong with the question. The tutor probably needs 10 minutes just to come up with the right explanation or right guidance and all that. And then we had to stop the service at 11 p.m. at night, because as humans, the tutors need to sleep anyway, right? And then resume the service in the morning. And then when AI came into the picture, obviously we use AI for content generation and all that, and then we had the AI to be trained based on the previous responses. And then after that, we allow the AI to respond first before or while we're writing the question to the right tutor. So the AI will respond first. And then when the AI got smart enough, then AI actually took over completely. So the AI will respond on behalf of the tutors, so the human tutors will focus on other things like live teaching, live classes and all that. So AI will respond to the students. So on the students' perspective, from the students' perspective, they don't really realize that it's actually AI responding to them. They realize it's actually faster, it's more organized, and then they say that, now it's 24/7, but they don't really realize it's AI. For them, this human tutor is very fast, very quick, very organized, very accurate. So what they care more is whether or not the response understands their query, whether or not the response is accurate, whether the response is fast. But they don't really care about the technology behind it. So most of the things that we do with AI is just a natural progression of what we were doing before. And for students, what they care is more whether the features actually solve their problems. So I don't want to get into too deep, but those are some of the things that we have been doing in with regards to AI in Pandai. And now we have probably around 1 million plus students using Pandai since 2020.
Just a progression. Sorry, just want to pick on what you say. Interesting. What do you see as the future of this? So you mentioned in the past you have the educators on the app replying, and then now it's AI augmented, right? The teacher is being helped by the AI. In the future, would the teacher not be in the picture?
All right. Okay. So a lot of people ask me this because we have quite a number of students now. Is Pandai replacing teachers? Is Pandai replacing schools? I would like to highlight that what we're doing is to complement, right? And there's value in terms of human interaction between the student and their teachers, right? Obviously, AI maybe can have the training data, the knowledge base and all that, but they don't have the experience like a human teacher does. And they don't have the empathy, the human connection between the human teacher and the students. So, but we see all these kind of technologies, not only AI, will complement what the teachers are doing in school and how the students are learning, not replacing the teachers or the schools.
Okay, so just a quick response, if I can just ask. So no replacement of teacher in the next 2, 3, 4 years? No replacement at all? So just teachers will still be in the picture?
Yeah, teachers will still be there.
10 years from now? Maybe.
It's hard to tell.
It's hard to tell?
Yeah, but in the future, human teachers will still in the picture.
Okay.
10 years from now, it's hard to tell.
No one knows, right? No one knows, yeah. I think this is a good question, right? Will I still have a job in the next 10 years?
But maybe their role is different. Maybe they become more of a facilitator. So empowering the students to learn their own way, and then they become a facilitator instead.
The uncle at the back look very relieved now. I still have a job. Thank God. James, go for it.
To follow up on that point, actually, teachers are in the last 1% to be replaced because it's all about relationships. Yeah. Now, I'd also like to talk to you about what AI can do. And what I found really powerful and really scary was that about a year or so ago, not only could AI answer the questions, it was answering them with my actual answers. Because AI has taken so much content. And at that point, I realized that it has to be about the experience. It has to be about the learning and the process and not the results. And that's really key. We need to understand that data information is not so important. It's about learning skills, resilience, and being responsible. Because as I say, an AI can generate the answers, and it's actually got my data. There's an application called Replit, and it had my actual answers. So the students couldn't say, hey, these are the wrong answers. No, they're definitely the right answers. They were my answers. So that is a part of the experience. And I'll be happy to talk to any teachers in more depth. But what I want to get everybody, my key message is, it's got to be about process. It's got to be about skills. That's where we need to focus on character, because that's the truly important things. And those are the things that are going to be great moving forward. Thank you very much.
Just want to build on what you said. Sorry, I'm not a naughty moderator. I like to ask some questions. So Replit, what he mentioned is a software that allows you to create any application using a prompt. So many of you are familiar with ChatGPT, right? You put in those words, those are called a prompt. So with Replit, you put in a prompt and it creates an app in 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 25 minutes. And people have made money from Replit, right? Replit. This app is one of the hottest apps in the US right now. The question I want to ask is, you know Replit, you know the sort of how to use this, but what about other teachers who are maybe tech adverse?
I mean,
nervous?
that's why I'm here, to get the message out, to make sure that everybody has a chance, right? That's the equity. If we don't teach the teachers, then we're not going to be able to do that. And I think that's important. As other jobs disappear, the emphasis will be more on teaching, on training, on making sure everybody has those opportunities, everybody understands the AIs. Otherwise, we're going to have that Terminator scenario because we're not checking the ethics of the AI. So I think that's the bottom line. We've got to do our bit. We've got to try really hard to do it. And also, I would like to put a disclaimer on Replit, right? Recently, somebody had their production server, because unless you understand the code getting generated, you could end up in a lot of trouble.
That's right. Yeah, good point. I think we'll come back to maybe how do we talk to non-techies, right? I think many of us are non-technical, non-techies, and I think this is
actually, I wouldn't mind a show of hands. How many of you would consider yourselves non-techie?
Non-technical. How many is okay?
Got a fairly technical audience.
Bear in mind, some of them won't put up their hands anyways, right?
That's why I did a negative question.
Okay, thank you. Very thought-provoking. Marques, go for it. Marques is from Heriot-Watt. Yeah.
Thanks, Zaim, and good morning, everyone. I hope it's been a great summit so far. Now, before I go back to your question, Zaim, about what's the most significant area of AI that has impacted the way I look at my job or I do my work, I have to give a bit of context to this, and I think it's important for us to look at numbers, because I'm a very process-oriented guy, as what James mentioned earlier. So before we even go into the purpose of things, we need to measure certain parameters that we need to look into. Now, for example, by 2030, 30% of global jobs are expected to undergo significant transformation. And when I say significant, it simply means at least 70% of your work will be transformed. Now, let's talk about talent gap. In Southeast Asia, we need at least 1 million AI specialists by 2030 if we are serious about the conversations that we are having, not just during this summit, but any AI-related conversation. Now, student access to digital devices. Now, before we go into this question about education, how many of you here have been through some form of an education system? Some form. Even primary school, secondary school, tertiary level education. You've been through the education system. Now, the access to digital devices in 2025 we only have across 600 million people or more in Southeast Asia, we only have at least 60% who have access to digital devices. Okay? So again, something to ponder about. 60% of youth between the ages of 10 to 24 in Southeast Asia are receiving formal digital skills training in schools. Only 60% of youth between the ages of 10 to 24 across Southeast Asia. Okay? Now, urban-rural internet disparity. We talk about AI all the time, but we don't look at the key information that basically drives this entire tool. The internet penetration stands at 95% in urban areas, where else in rural areas, can anyone take a guess what's the penetration number like? 50%, 40%, very close. It's 45%. 95% versus 45%, and we're talking about AI in education, ladies and gentlemen. Are we being delusional? It's a serious question to ask. Now, we are here talking about AI. What is the purpose of AI? AI is a tool. It is to amplify intelligence. It is not artificial. It is to amplify intelligence. So the work that I do, I've got 15 basic statistics here that I'm not going to go through one by one. But if we want to talk more about how serious we are, how do we get not just Southeast Asia, we need to start with ourselves. We drive Southeast Asia. So if you were to sit down and look at your own ecosystem, what is the purpose that you serve? So the work that I do at Heriot-Watt University, Malaysia, and Heriot-Watt University globally across all 5 campuses is to drive purpose. And that is the future of education. Education remains relevant as long as you know the purpose that it serves. The moment you start thinking about AI, we talked about revolutions for decades and centuries. We started with the Industrial Revolution. We started with Y2K. And today we are at another cycle. It's a cycle. So don't look at it as something that is going to, of course, there are damages to be done. There are jobs to be lost. Let's not kid ourselves. And if you ask me, the fastest way for you to learn AI is to figure out how fast can the AI replace you. So I've been working for the past 3 years on understanding how can I replace myself with an AI system. That's the fastest way for you to move. It's not about listening to people. It's not just about understanding what's been spoken about. Put in the work. If you want to deliver quality, you need to understand what quality looks like. You need to understand the metrics behind what today is benched upon. So tomorrow is determined by what we decide to do today. Now, if you give too much emphasis on AI, we run into this double-edged sword of balancing the act. How do you take care of natural resources that drive these tools? If we are serious about AI, we also have to be serious about the future generations. You can't be having wars in the Middle East and then here we're talking about AI. You can't have children dying of starvation and here we're talking about the future of AI in education. It's ridiculous. So my purpose is to shed light on these things and using AI as a tool to bridge that disparity that we have. Because if you're not looking to serve a purpose, everything and anything we talk about is in vain. You can rather just speak to the mirror or record yourself.
Thanks, Marques.
Okay, thank you.
This is a very interesting, a lot of themes there actually, right? There's a lot of themes when it comes to AI use. The uncle just now that was feeling relief, he's looking a bit stressed now. Right? So, but it's okay. This is the debate, right? They are techno-pessimists and techno-optimists. Sometimes people think when I say techno, they think techno club. No, technology. Optimist, technology, pessimist, right? And there's always this debate since the 17th century, the 18th century, the first industrial revolution, the Luddites, techno-pessimists. Then you have the industrialists, techno-optimists, right? Again, techno, not the techno club, okay? Let's not get confused. Prof. Nurkhamimi, floor is yours.
Right. So coming from Islamic higher education, so actually I'm teaching Arabic as a second language, and I use technology and teach people and share with people about teaching foreign language like Mandarin, Japanese, Korean. So it's another aspect of higher education, right? To using technology and the AI. So actually in my university in campus, so last week we were in Maldives sharing with Maldivian. They don't use ChatGPT in Maldives because they say in Maldives, ChatGPT always just 20% accurate. They use their own Divehi GPT. Even ChatGPT is meaningless in Maldives. Not in Malaysia, yes. So we're talking about inclusivity. So in my university, I do believe that AI actually moved us in Malaysia from AI consumer nation to AI creator nation. So it helps a lot because in language we have 4 skills, right? Not just in education, we have listening skills, we have speaking skills, writing skills, and readings. So right now, my student, when they have a speaking test for MUET or IELTS or even for TOEFL, I ask them to go to AI, to Udly, and then do 1 until 10 times speak and practice with Udly first, and then 11 session, then you need Hamimi. So you go to my AI, Habibi, and Habibi for 10 session in Udly, and then the 11 session, then you need Habibi. So I don't need to waste my time for 10 session with my student anymore for speaking tests. So it saved me a lot of time. And even for paraphrasing, we are using maybe Grammarly for English, but we have also for Arabic. Even for Arabic, it's so special because we have characteristics. We have baris, right? Where we R, E, and U. So what ChatGPT cannot cater until right now. And also about inclusivity, it's about dialects. So ChatGPT until right now, it only serves for Saudi Arabia dialects. What happened to Egyptian dialect, Moroccan dialect, Syrian dialect? Same goes with Chinese. They don't have only Mandarin. We have countries more than 20 or maybe 60 dialects. So this is what we call about inclusivity. And also, it saves us a lot of time of repetitive question. Some of the students, they always come to us asking the same question, right? So right now, you can use my DDID or my avatar, Habibi. I call it Habibi as a replacement for Hamimi. Okay, compliment me. So wherever they come to me and ask a simple or repetitive question, so they will ask Habibi first. If Habibi cannot answer, then you will come to Habibi. So it's always human in the loop.
So sorry, this Habibi, how do they access? Is this the student? What is the interface to access Habibi?
Okay, so right now when we talk about accessibility, people always think that in order for you to get AI, you must have internet. So I challenge the tech company. Why not we come with the AI for online and offline? Can we go with that? Not just online, but you still can get access to AI wherever you have in Ulu Tembeling there, in Pahang. Without internet, you still can access with AI. That means if you go to the resource center that have an internet, you can download everything from the beta version and then come back to your kampung. You don't have any internet, you still can get to access to the chatbot. So once in a while, you will go again to the resource center. But because we are talking about inclusivity, so no internet, don't talk about AI. Right? So infrastructure that NVIDIA, I guess a deputy minister from Indonesia also always mentioned about the same thing.
Very, very interesting. So 10 sessions with Habibi and then 11 sessions with Hamimi. Okay, I'm mindful of the time. I want to open the floor for some questions. Okay, we have a question 2. Maybe we'll take, maybe we roll them up. It'll be easier, right? So we can have more questions. The gentleman over here first, and then after the lady over here. Name and your question directed to?
Yes, good morning to a distinguished panel. My name is Joseph. The question which I wish to pose is there a barrier for AI in education in terms of language? I suppose English is more supreme, but in a situation where people have no command of English, how are they going to cope with the AI in terms of education? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Joseph, for the question.
Excellent question.
Just we'll take a few. I want to make sure that we have we'll do justice to the crowd. Lead over here. Yep.
Hi, good afternoon, or is it still morning? Good morning. Jaspal from Canterbury.
Name, sorry?
Jaspal.
Jaspal. Okay.
From Canterbury Christchurch University in Southeast England. Fantastic panel, thank you very much. I've got quite an array of concerns as well as questions. So for example, Khairul, you spoke about your platform. My biggest concern that flashed out was the digital divide between the haves and the have-nots financially, not in terms of knowledge. I'm just thinking if it's subscription-based, clearly your market is a particular demographic of people. And what are we doing here? We're creating a massive digital divide. That's my main concern. It's also, a concern within the Sustainable Development Goals, with UNESCO and so on and so forth. I'm sure you're aware of this. But also in terms of AI models, the inaccuracies that we talked about, it's very clear the inaccuracies range from 20 to 40%. We need to deal with this. And that leads to you, James, because when large language models in particular use Common Crawl and crawl out all these data, and leading up from that comment that you made just now, that we have this Western hegemony in terms of English language. We all know that 50% of the language that LLM models are being trained with are English, and I'm very concerned about this continued imperialism and colonization of us as users, of our students, the next generation, with the use of Western-centric LLM models. So Ilmu is quite a breath of fresh air. So those were my concern. I am not, Zaim, a technophobe. I'm a tech acolyte. I'm an AI lawyer and an AI ethicist. I embrace technology. I've been teaching technology for more than 30 years. But I have concerns. And I'm not a Luddite. I'm not Yorkshire. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Technophobe, yeah. Techno-pessimist is the softer. The gentleman here and the one on the back. And then we'll end it there.
Yes, my name is Muhammad Javed. So my question is generally in terms of, since you all are educators, as one of the points that was mentioned is character development is critical, and of students of the future, as we get more into technology, that human element is lost, right? So a lot of times people are just engrossed in video games and they don't have the same kind of development as they do in the past because of this technocentric life that's being promoted. So my question is, what influence, how can AI enhance character development and leadership development in our students going forward?
Okay, very good question. Jamil, was it? Jamil? Javid. Got it. Okay, just final one over there. Gentleman at the back with the hand raised. Yeah.
Hi, my name is CK. This question is addressed to Mr. Jeevan. Just now you mentioned about using AI to bridge the disparity. And we know that AI has increased the speed of the education inequality. Way before AI, we already know there is statistic that 80% of the Oxford students, who from UK, they are from private school. So there's a disparity already, and now AI make it become larger, the gap. So how do you, you mentioned you are using AI to bridge the disparity. Could you share with us how you do it?
Thank you so much, CK. So there are four, there are actually three broad questions. There are two questions that were revolving around digital divide, okay? And then the idea of English as sort of the dominant language, which is a barrier to learn AI. And then there was also this question about building character in education. So, and some of the speakers are directed to all, but I want to just get the panel. We have 4 minutes on the clock, but I just want to make sure that we get the panel to maybe respond generally to the sentiment from the audience. Maybe, Khairul, start with you. You actually had a pitching question just now.
Oh, yeah.
It was a pitching question.
Thank you for the question. Appreciate it. Yes, the digital divide is a huge issue. And like Marques mentioned just now, there's a disparity, a wide spectrum. On one hand, we have students who have access to all kinds of technology. And on the other opposite of the spectrum, we have students who are not even familiar with browsing the web, for example, right? And of course, many of these are infrastructure issues and all that. But at Pandai, what we're trying to do is to help the masses. So before starting Pandai started in 2020. Before starting Pandai, the co-founders and I, we've been in education for 18 years. And we're trying to do a lot of things outside the curriculum as well. But unfortunately, because we did a lot of things traditionally, face-to-face, paper-based stuff, right? We had to go there physically and all that. We had to charge a bit. Many of the attendees are students from elite backgrounds or from families who can afford to pay. And unfortunately, if we talk about something outside the curriculum, if you go to especially rural areas, the parents' mindset is that if something is not in the exam, my kids shouldn't be spending time on it, whether it's sports or music or coding or whatever, right? And because of that, we wanted to use technology in order to tackle the masses. Yes, a lot of people say technology is a leveler, but what we've seen, many technologies actually making the gap even bigger, right? So at Pandai, we started off by focusing on the core boring subjects first, because the parents' concern is that, the exam, right? And then now we have a lot of students using Pandai. We started doing other things, enrichment outside of syllabus content as well. And at Pandai, we're proud to be an accredited social enterprise as well. And at Pandai, we have a free version. Yes, we're on subscription basis, but we have a free version. And our free version is not 3-day free or 1 week free or 1 month free. It's free indefinitely, free forever. Of course, there's some differentiation between the paid version and the free version. For example, you want more analysis and things like that, right? You have to wait for your heart to generate it a bit longer and all that. If not, if there's no differentiation, no one wants to pay. So at Pandai, the small portion of students who are paying are actually subsidizing the millions more who are using Pandai for free. And if you look at the statistics, 30.8% of Pandai users, and this surprises us as well, actually come from rural areas. So how is this possible? I don't want to get into too much detail. There are two main reasons. One, we started working with corporates, big names, GLCs, government, who has more reach into the rural areas than we do ourselves. They subsidize a lot of things, they get on the ground and all that, so credit to them. Number two, we started an offline mode. So Prof, you mentioned something about doing something offline. So at Pandai, we have an offline mode. So students who have no internet or intermittent internet access can still use Pandai. Obviously, they have to preload the content first when they're in town, but when they're home, they don't have to climb the tree to get internet reception or anything like that. They can still use some parts of Pandai. Obviously, when there's connection after 1 month, it gets sync and all that. So that's the mission behind Pandai, even though the ones in rural areas are not our paying customers, but those are the ones that we want to help as well. So I actually hope for more equitable, AI-powered education somehow. So hopefully we find a way to do that.
So it's a freemium social. So you have the social aspect, which is also a freemium model. So free, and then you can pay.
Free and a paid version. So the ones paying are subsidizing the rest in order for them to also use some sort of features in Pandai as well.
I was looking at Prof face. Prof was smiling because he was like, "You can't beat my Habibi." My Habibi is different. Yeah. Prof, you wanna go? You're gonna go ahead? We'll jump the queue. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So I guess for the digital divide, I guess it is time for us to empower the explainable AI. So we don't see any explanation behind ChatGPT, but we go with Stanford, Cold-Storm. Everything you search, it will be some kind of wiki style, and it will show you the sources, what happened behind the scene. So this is all about explainable AI for digital divide. So we can acknowledge from here what are weaknesses that we can top up or beef up later on. So coming back to the character development, right? I guess we need to change. Maybe ASEAN educator can change from educators to cognitive forensic analysts. So we have forensic in hospital, but right now we want to change from educator to forensic analyst in school. So coming back to James, we don't focus on the output anymore, because output, we are debating whether this essay AI powered or not AI powered. Coming back to the process, and then as a forensic, when we see dead body, we will CSI, we will come, what is the cause of the death? Right now, as a teacher, we go as a cognitive analyst, forensic, we go to our thesis, our essay of our student, how did you get this answer? Right now, if you ask 2 + 2 = 4, we can simply accuse our student, you are using calculator, right? No, I calculate it myself. No, you are using calculator. So you are banning the calculator in 1966. Just right now, you are banning AI in schools. So AI is just a tool. A fool with a tool, still a fool. Right? This is what my fool always saying. So this is another agenda that we need to change. Some say that because my profession is lecturer, that's why I give lecture. Right? So how about learning coach or cognitive forensic analyst? So in order for that, the way we teach, we also need to revamp the way we do assessment and evaluation. We are talking about multi-layered assignments. Not just one layer, it's not a multi-layered chocolate cake, it's the multi-layered assignment, whereby you give one assignment, not talking about microphone, okay? Please describe about this microphone from the economic standpoint, from the culture standpoint, from the religious standpoint. So this is what AI actually cannot do if we know how to do it. And last but not least, we would like to introduce the viva voce defense in our school. Normally we will have viva voce or defense in our PhD or master level, but now we would like to introduce the same concept in school, whereby if you get the answer, you need to tell me how do you get it. If you can defend, no matter the output, you use ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot, or Perplexity, okay? It doesn't matter. The moment you can describe about how you get the process, how do you process, that means you can get A+ simply. Thank you very much.
Very interesting. So I like this point. You know, it's also consulting. You know, the consulting world is not about the outcome. It's about the thought process. Yeah, I don't really care whether it's the right or wrong answer, but tell me how you got to this answer, and they can also include AI. And I think eventually we'll reach a point where AI becomes electricity. It's a foundational technology. In the past, electricity was a foundational technology. So you don't hear about electricity summit, right? It's just there. Electricity is in the background. AI will eventually be the same thing. You won't have AI summits in 10 years from now, because AI is just the foundational technology that powers everything that we do. And I think this is eventually what will happen to education as well. AI is just going to be part of education. It won't be the forefront. It won't be at the forefront. It will be at the background, just like electricity. We don't talk about it anymore. Maybe we used to have electricity summit 100 years ago. Maybe, I don't know. I'll go to James, and I'm going to end with Marques. So we have about 5 minutes between the two of you.
Okay,
James,
so I'm going to keep it very brief, and I want to address the very obvious concern. I am about as Anglo-centric as it comes. But I know that the fact is that the majority of the world's knowledge is currently in English. But that doesn't mean that English people put it all in there. The fact is, in China, there are 250 million people who can speak English as a second language. And it's those second language users that are providing incredible power and providing those diverse voices. English has become this common currency. And yes, it was founded for the wrong reasons and the thing. But we now have a language that we can all speak to each other in. And that's the power here, is the 50%. But it's also, if you want your language to be better represented, go out there, do it yourself. That is the power, yeah? And we will give you the tools, we will give you the help you need to go and do that. But you have to grab it, you have to go for it. Then you will have Bahasa Malaysia, then you will have your local languages, then you will have your Maltese, you will have all those languages represented if you go out there and do it. Use English to grab that power. Thank you.
I want to give you a practical translation. Go to the YTL AI Labs and sign up for the Ilmu LLM, because that's the country's first Malaysian LLM. I think we're developing it as we speak.
And Delima as well is an amazing thing.
Yeah,
and that really is the most practical thing you can do to bridge the divide, because it requires very little bandwidth to get there, and they've pretty much got it.
Absolutely.
And it won't long before satellite can reach just about every village. So it's getting there, and the technology is getting cheaper. So these are things we can do to bridge the divide. And I've got to give hats off to the Malaysian government, because they've done a lot on this.
James, you showed the teacher side of you just now. A lot of people felt, oh my God, homework. I got to do homework after this. Marques, go for it.
Okay, I think basically everything has already been echoed. Now, my call to action for all of you is to remember two things. Be the learner and the teacher. So to answer your question, CK, you asked about how to bridge the divide and what we do. that's essentially what we promote. So every student has to learn a specific skill in order to translate it into an impact project, which includes an AI skill. So basic AI skills involves things like teaching students how do you use translation tools. So also answering what Joseph asked about earlier. When you talk about divides, there are always divides. There's language divide, there's cultural divide, there's so many different types of divides that are out there. But as we explore, and as an education institution and an ecosystem, that insatiable hunger to continuously discover more ways to bridge the gap, that is the human intelligence, that is the human spirit, because we continue to improve. Look at where we are at the best point in history. It's because a few good people and a few hopeful individuals decided to do, even computers, AIs, and whatever else intelligence that's about to come. So the best way to do this is work with your students, understand what they're good at, speak to them, and as what all my fellow panelists have mentioned, you've got to understand ways to help them. So the purpose has to be about enhancing education. It's about furthering the access, furthering the equitability of education. So when that is the center of everything that we do to empower the human race, then we start to look at better ways to bridge the AI gap. And that's important.
Thank you so much, Marques, and to all our panelists. We don't have time anymore because we do have to end this, but I just want to quickly share that myself and a few others want to create a network where we can talk about inclusive AI. So to the points of the audience about how do we teach AI to non-techies and community at large. So come and speak to me afterwards if you want to join this network, because I think it's important that we don't talk about just the high-level technology ecosystem, but also how do we connect AI with everyday people so that you don't get left behind. And I think with that, thank you so much to all the panelists. Let's give them a round of applause. This has been a very insightful panel, and I'm going to pass it back to our very dashing, handsome MC for the next segment. Thank you so much.